Well, now that we have this all together, I decided to go ahead and make up a couple of handles. They don't need to be anything real special or very long, and I want them removable, so I'm going to make them a ball end on one side and then just straight on the other, so it's more like a straight Tommy bar, but it won't fall all the way through. So I'm going to show you how I do that. First things first, mark your centers. All right, and so we're going to average out the center. We're going to take the spur center from the lathe, line it up, and now we get a good impression. All right, so there we go. And now we're going to move over to the lathe. I don't know how well this is going to show up on the camera. I'm using a different method of mounting the camera than I normally would, but we'll give it a shot anyway. It's pretty simple. Always make sure that things clear your tool post or tool rest. Make sure everything is tight. And then flip it on. First thing I'm going to do is just knock down all of the corners and everything. Now that we've got it more or less round, I'll turn it off. And I've got a tiny little flat spot, but that's going to come off with no problem. So let me lay out a couple of quick lines. I think we're going to go with just a small flattened ball, probably only about 3/4 of an inch to an inch in diameter. I'm not even going to bother measuring it. And then we'll turn this down to 1 inch to match the hole in the handle. So let's lay that out. Just like that. And now we turn this down to 1 inch. It's pretty simple. You just use a pair of calipers, and however you decide to mark an inch, you can see what your progress is. I've got about a 1/4 inch to take off of that before I'm at an inch. I'm going to speed the lathe up a bit. We're getting close. I got about another 1/8 of an inch. It's just a little tight down here, and we're just about perfect all the way up to about here. All right. Now comes time to shape this, the handle end. So I've got the next piece chucked up in the lathe. We're going to slide the tool post back in place. And now, to make sure that I have these the same, I'm going to go ahead and mark directly from this piece that we've already done. And I will double check that after I start getting it more rounded. I think my pencil mark is completely gone, so I'll have to remark that here in a minute. I'm going to take care of this flat first, and then I'll remark it. Alright, I'm going to flatten that out just a little bit more. Let's see how that looks. That looks halfway decent right there. I normally saw this off. I don't actually part most of my parts off on the wood lathe. I found it's just as easy to saw that little nub off, and I'd rather do that than have something fly off the lathe and get dinged or hit me in the head. One quick note, yes, you will see me wear a ring. This is a tearaway ring. I don't wear metal rings. Always wear appropriate safety equipment, and don't wear long sleeves that are coming down here. Have your hair up. Make sure that if you are wearing headphones or hearing protection that you don't have anything dangling down. You don't want anything to get caught in something that's spinning. And that goes for almost all machinery. These fit nicely, so I'm going to trim these off and get a coat of oil on these. I just cut these off, just did that over at the bandsaw. That looks good. And there we go. I'm just going to leave this center here. A lot of times I would round this, but I'm just going to basically chamfer the edge just a little bit. And now, I'm just going to coat that in some linseed oil, same finish as the vise itself. This is not the wood I would normally use for handles, but we'll see how this turns out. It's a little soft. This is Spanish cedar. Very pretty. Relatively strong, but lightweight, and like I said, soft. So we'll see if they get dinged up or break during use. I don't think they will with as short as they are, but there we go. Not bad. Yeah. This is the final video on this vise, so I just wanted to go over a couple of quick things. I made a couple of accessories. First, this is for if I want to clamp something here. Let's say I'm working on a tenon or cutting something with a curve, and I want to use this towards the end. I can just tighten it up, and that's fine. But much like with a leg vise, you want the vise not to rack, because then you only get a single point of contact. So having something that takes up the same amount of space or close to it gives you even contact all the way across on your workpiece. Very simple to do, and all it is a block with a couple of steps in it that you can slide in as far as you need to take up different amounts of space. You want to make sure that they are long enough that they get towards the middle of the vise chop, because if you do it just at the top and then tighten things down, it's going to rack at the bottom. So you want to make sure that it's long enough that you can get all the way down to around where the screw is actually pressing in on the chop. So that's the first accessory that I made for this. The second, when you're cutting dovetails or doing some sort of joinery, a lot of times you cut your dovetail and then you want to put your piece down to actually do your chiseling. And so I just took a piece of scrap board that I can fit right here and tighten up, and now I can do all of my chiseling right here, and it keeps your work height at about the same as what you're sawing. And for me, that's nice because the bench height is set up more for planing than chiseling. I get a better height for working on the chisel, and I'm not leaning over, which is a lot easier on the back and knees. So I think that just about finishes it up, and we'll see if we can actually incorporate this design into a larger one on my next bench build. We'll see you on the next one.